Hello everyone and welcome to the video lecture series of mobile application development. In our previous session, we have talked about the constraint layouts and the frame layout. The next today's topic is the table layout in Android. Hi everyone, this is your instructor Janice Shah. So let's begin to understand the why table layout is used, how we can utilize the properties of the table layouts, and what are the main, is there any relation of the table layout in Android and the table tag in HTML. Fine. So here it is students, the first topic is the table layout. So whenever you try to arrange the group of views in the like rows and the columns, what is necessary? The table layout is important at the time. It is considered this container is not only to display the border lines as well as their columns, rows or cells. Always remember, same like HTML table tag, here you cannot able to show the borders, okay, as well as columns and cells. Now, the table will have the many columns as the rows with the most of the cells. Okay, you can add the number of view in particular table row and you will get the number of columns according to the view components inside the rows. There is no need to mention the number of columns in the table layout Android. It is automatically adds the column as per the number of view inside the row attribute. Next, see, this is our table layout students. When we talk about the table layout, what we have? So first, this is my row 1. We just have to specify the table row as a tag and it will automatically create the whole row. Then this is my row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2. Here, what I'm going to do is, students, I'm just going to set up a particular view component, one view component over here, inside the table row, second table row, and another view component over here inside the row 2. So in a single row table row element, I am going to define the two different view components. That two different view components are considered as column 1 and column 2. In this particular row, I am going to take three view components, that becomes column 1, 2 and 3. This is my row 4. So this is the general structure of my table layout. You can set your elements according to the table rows and columns as you want. Next, this is students, I'm just taking one example. Just suppose this orange circle is known as image view component and this is a pink is known as a text view component. So here this blue color is known as my table layout. So this purple is known as my table layout. This is my whole table layout is there. Inside my whole table layout, I'm going to taking the first row that contains one profile picture and the name of the user. And again, here profile picture and name of the user. Here profile picture and the name of the user. So what is happening over here, students? This is my row 1. This is my table row 2. This is my table row 3. This is my table row 4. Inside the particular table row, we should not define the table columns, but you just directly need to write down the view components. This is my image view, text view, image view, text view, image view. Such like this, you can divide your whole table structure as per you want according to the rows and columns. Now, let's understand about the various important points in the table layouts. So always remember that for building a row in the table layout, we need to use the tag that is known as table row element. The table row objects are the child view of the table layout. Each row of the table has 0 or more columns, or we can say the more cells. Here each cell can hold only one view object. See, in the particular column of or cell, you can specify only one object like edit text, image view, anything, whatever you want. Table width of a table is defined by the number of parents container. It means as the parent, whatever the width the parent has, the table width can be defined as per its parent's container. Column can be both stretchable and shrinkable. See, if you have more content, you can sorry, if you have enough space, okay, after putting the element, and then you can stretch your column for filling the gaps, as well as if you want to wrap down your content, then you can also shrink the columns. Now, if you shrink the columns, then the width of the column can be shrunk to fit the table into the parent object. And when you try to stretch the column, then it expands the width what are the extra width you have inside your parent content. Next, we cannot specify students the width of the children of the table layout, but here width is always matched with the parent width. The height attribute can be defined by the child, and the default value of the height attribute is the wrap content. Now, what are the attributes for the table layout? Number one is the stretch column. So stretch column is used where it is applied to the table layout. You just need to specify that which number of column you want to stretch. Remember, in the table layout, the column number starts from the 0. So where the first column is known as the 0, the next will be 1, next will be 2. So if you want to specify like stretch columns 0, that means the first column of the table is stretched. Okay. Now, shrink columns, you can, if you do not need any extra spaces inside the column, and you just need to shrink that particular column collapse. This particular attribute is used to hide the column from the given index in the table layout. If you want to remove that particular column, or if you want to remove the particular column, then you can just write down the column collapse. Layout span. Layout span is little bit similar to the HTML call span. This view takes only the one column width, but when you want your view to take more than one column space, then you can use this particular attribute that is known as layout span. Layout column. Students, you can assign the column number over here, like the view inside the table row. You just need to apply this particular layout column and layout span. Rest of the all three attributes you just need to apply in the table layout element. Fine. So here, when you want to view the result in the first table row to appear below the another table rows view, then you can assign the attribute. We will see about this later during the practical, so do not worry about it. So let me just explain the very first attribute, that is known as the ID. So you can specify the ID, like you just need to same as the table layout tag is there. So write down the table layout Android ID. You just need to specify the ID of the table layout, then its width and the height is match parent and match parent both. Next attribute of the table layout is the stretch columns. What it happens? So it takes the whatever the extra amount of spaces from the table layout, the whatever the view left the extra amount of spaces, it will occupy each and everything. So stretch column attribute use in the table layout to change the default width of column is set equal to the width of the widest column. We can also stretch the column to take the available free spaces by using the attribute. See, the value of the assigned to the attribute can be a single number like 0, 1, 2, 3. You can do stretch columns and shrink column both by using table layout attributes. So if the table value is 1, then the second column is stretched. If it is 3, then the fourth column is stretched. Fine. If the value is 0 and 1, see, you can also assign them, you can stretch the multiple columns as well by just putting the comma in between of the numbers, like stretch column 0, 1. This will allow you to stretch the columns first and the second both. So how it works? Let me show you. Before that, see, I just one thing is remaining. If you put the star over there, you can stretch every table columns. Fine. Now, this is my table layout, students. You can see this is my table layout. The very first attribute is the stretch columns, and this is the code of that. So I'm going to take a table layout. Inside it, one table row is there. Inside the text view and the text view, both text views are there. So students, here if you can see the table layout, inside it we have the layout width, layout height is already given. The context is the stretch column example. ID is already given like table stretch, and inside it we have taken one table row, one text view and text view is there. Okay, this both text view and both sizes already given to them. Next, what I did, I just stretched one particular column. If you want to see the stretch column, so this is the layout like Android stretch columns 0. Stretch columns attribute is applied to the table layout, not the particular table row element. Fine. So here what is happening, students, the stretch columns is 0. If the stretch column is 0, that means the very first column of the table is stretched down. See. So the first column is stretched down. Okay. And then this is a stretch column output. Now, when we talk about the table layout, the shrink columns. So shrink column attributes used to shrink and reduce the width of the columns. We can specify either the single column or multiple columns inside it. The value is 0, that means the first column is shrink down. The value is 0, 1, that means first and the second both column gets shrink down. Let me show output of that. See what I take? I just take column 1, column 2 and column 3. Three attributes are there. So in the this is a table row 1, this is a table row 2. So when I just try to write down like string column 0, it is automatically shrink down over here. We will see the output, we will see the real code, practical code, so we will get the better idea for that. This is my before and this is my after. What we have the before I have like this. See, this is my normal layout, that like column 1, column 2. This is only 3 columns there, but inside the row 2, I do not specify the third, and we can say the view component. When I click on the 0 or shrink the column 0, then the first column gets shrink down like this, and then we can able to see the rest of the columns. This is the shrink column output. Next, students, we have the collapse column. This collapse column attribute is used to collapse or invisible the whole column from the table itself. If the value is 0, then the first column is a collapse. Value of 3, then the fourth column is collapsed. So here we have, see, this is the collapse column. My code is applied like this, like Android column collapse column 1. That means the second is get down. I have also applied the stretch column start, so each and every column occupies the equal amount of spaces inside my whole table view. So what we have, like first 3, first 4, and the one edit box is there. This is the name. Then we have the text view, and another edit box is there. What I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to apply the code like this. See, collapse column 1. So we can see this is my output. Collapse column 1, that means this particular column is get collapsed. So this will be removed, and you can able to see online directly first 3 and second. See, first 3 and second. This column becomes your first, we can see second column, that means first index column. Fine. So the whatever the column we have at the first, it will be collapsed, and the second will become take place of the first column. Fine. So this is how the collapse column works. Next attribute is, next column attribute is layout underscore column. So it can set the cell under the particular column. If you want to set the cell inside the third column or fourth column or second column, then you can move your cell by applying like layout underscore column attribute. So this is my text view. What I am going to do is I am just going to remove the text view from here to third position. So you can apply the layout underscore column to the third like this. So here we have, this is my before the output. So layout column output is this. See, this is what we have before running the program. So like first, then second one, first 2, then edit text, then first 3 in here, then first 4, and the second one is there. So when I click on the third, so this second 2 is moved from the fourth column to the third column. Fine. Such like this, students, you can move your layout, you can assign the layout ID as well as value as well. Fine. So now let's take a look at on the live practical example and check each and every attribute. Okay, so let's move towards the program first. So finally, students, we are inside the table layout. What I'm going to take is, see here in the table layout, let me first show the stretch column example. Code is split down the code. Let me just make the column little bit big. Here what we have. Okay, so we'll get the better idea about the layout example. See. Okay, let me just minimize it, make it little bit bigger for you. Okay. So now, students, this is my table layout. We first need to just remove whatever the default label you have and write down like table. You will get the suggestion like table layout. Write down this. See, I just set the width to the match parent, height to the match parent, ID, give ID to the table layout, and this is the stretch column 0. Let me just remove this. Okay. So what we have, the very first, we have the one table row we have. Inside the one table row, ID is already given. Okay. So text view is there, another text view is there. When this is table view row is completed. Now let me just take another table row so you will get a better idea. I'm going to take a table row. Okay. Now just wait for a minute. Okay. Table row is there. Okay. And then just set down the margin width. Okay, width, layout width is, we can say like a match parent, and layout height is a wrap content. You can take anything, students. Layout height and the match parent and the width height is a wrap content. Okay, so this is my row. Let me just complete it. So instead of completed, you can complete row like this. See, row tag is completed now. Now whatever you want to do, you just want to apply over here. Let me just take first a text view. So this is my text view. So width is, we can say, a wrap content. Layout width, text view. Okay, so layout width is, students, we need to take as a wrap content, and layout height should be the wrap content. Whatever the text amount you want to take, we just take a text like hello second. Okay, you can also set the text size over there. Text size, let me take as a 30 dp. Okay, so you can also directly check out the output inside the this particular screen. Okay, design screen, so we'll get the better idea for that. Let me just change the background color. If you want to set the background color, you can also set the background for it. Let me just keep it hash FFAABB. Okay, so this is my, instead of FF, let me take is AAABB. Okay, so this is what we have, and let me just complete the text view right now. Okay, so let me just complete the text view. So I have just completed text view. See, if you can able to see, this is the whole text view is there. Okay, if you want to set the gravity, layout gravity or gravity to the center, okay, then you can also do that. You can also set the layout gravity to the center. Okay, let me just remove this code. So each and everything you can do by yourself, students. So let me just remove the layout gravity. I do not want to set any layout gravity over here. So here I just take only one text view. That's why it shows me like this. Now, if you want to add another two text view, you can do like this. See, hello second, hello second. Always remember your font size should be minimal. You can check out into the design view. Let me just keep it as a 20 dp. Okay, let me do it another is, it is a 20 dp, and let me do it on again next one for the 20 dp. So we will get the better output for each and every columns. Instead of bb, let me just keep on the c, let me just keep on cc, and a, remove the a first, and here again let me just keep it ff. Fine. So we have such idea. See, in this particular table, I have taken only three text views. That's why it shows me the three columns. There are two text views. That's why it shows me the two columns. Fine. Now, which column you want to stretch? Just write down like stretch columns. Okay. Which? Just write down the ID like 0. See, the 0 occupies the all amount. Whatever the amount will be left. Let me just keep it 1 as well. So this is for 1. So 0 and 1 both will get the proper stretching. This is all about the second column. So now all three columns get the stretching. If you want to apply the star, so you like this, you can apply the star, and all columns will occupy the same amount of spaces from here. What we have, this is all about the stretch the columns. Okay, first, then the second, this part will be stretched down. This is all about the 0. That means the first column is stretched successfully. Fine. Now let me just, instead of write down the hello second, let me just write down only hello over here. So we'll get the better idea. See, the hello over here. So its first column is stretched down 0. Okay. Then when I want to stretch the second, so the second. When I want to stretch the third, that means third. When we click on the star, all columns will stretch together. Fine. Now let me just show the output for the shrink column. So here we need to shrink columns. If you want to shrink 0, okay. So like this already shrinked. Okay. If you want to shrink columns like 1, okay, then this is the shrink columns 2. So just like the students, if you want to shrink the columns, if the extra spaces are there, you can also able to shrink the columns. Here we have also the example for that, like Android shrink column. See, the shrink 0, then we can say shrink 1, we can say shrink 2, we can say shrink 0 again. See, so such like this, students, you can apply the shrink that occupies the whatever the extra amount of space that contains. Will get the better idea for that. So to check the output of the shrink column, students, we are here. So let me just show the shrink columns output. So we just start down the shrink 1, so let me shrink 0. So first column will get shrink down. Okay, let me just keep it as 3. So there is no third column, so let me just keep it 2. So second column will shrink down 1, second column will shrink down 0, first column will shrink down. Such like this means you can use the shrinking of the columns as well. Now let me just move from the shrink columns to the next component. Let me just keep each and every component like stretch columns like star, so all will get settled successfully. Now let me just put down another table view component example, that is known as we can say the column collapse. So let me just apply the column collapse over here. So collapse columns, let me just collapse first number. So second column is gone. You can see directly output. See the 0, the first column is gone. See now 1, comma 2. So all both column is gone. Fine. If you can see all both column is gone. Now let me just remove the stretch columns. Okay. Also we can write down the shrink columns. Okay. So let me just check out how the shrink columns work. See. Okay. So instead of, see, this is the one. Sorry, shrink column. Let me just remove the attribute shrink column from here. Fine. This is all about the column collapse. Now, if you want to get the columns back, just remove this particular 1 and 2 from here. So column collapse, let me just remove it. Now, what I want to do, I just want to set, just wait for a minute. Let me just add another text view. So we'll get the better idea from here to here and here. So I have added the another 2 text view components are there. Okay, which have the IDs are different. So let me just give them ID, different ID. Okay, so now let me just remove the text size and the padding both. Remove the text size and the padding both. Okay, so now just let's check what happens. See, I just remove the text size and the padding as well as the background color. Fine. Okay, instead of the padding and text, I'll just remove the text from that. Let me just add the text first again. So like is a second. Fine. So here what we have, remove the padding, remove the padding. So now, so this is the thing what we have right now. So now let me just set this particular hello second to here. This is 0 column, 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. So what I'm going to do is in the particular the last text view, just write down layout underscore column number 3. See, when you try to write down the column number 3, the hello second is set over here. When you try to do column number 2, it will set over here. When you try to column number 1, it will, there is no enough space in the column number 1. Okay, so when you try down this 3, so it will set like this. So such like this students, you can apply the table layout examples. Okay, you can check each and every attribute inside the table layout. Fine. So this is all about the table layout. We have seen the like attributes like ID, collapse columns, stretch the columns, shrink the columns, okay, layout columns and everything. If you have any doubt in the table layout students, then please feel free to ask me. Thank you so much.